Hi there, and welcome to this new series. This is Molly McCord, and I'm sharing with you significant astrology transits throughout your life. And in this video, we're going to talk about what happens in your 30s. Now, please keep in mind these are general ages. The timing can fluctuate depending on your personal chart. It does not include all the transits because that is something that you would have to discover in an individual or personal reading. Jupiter trine Jupiter is not shown, and the Chiron trine is not shown due to the irregular orbit of Chiron. Chiron stays longer in some signs than others, so that is not included here, but we're going to dive into what does happen for most of us in our 30s. Now, the first main transit that shows up could be, depends on your chart, but for all of us is transiting Saturn squaring natal Saturn around 35 to 37 years of age. This square happens 7 years after your Saturn return, which would have been between 28 and 30. And this square is a checking in energy. And it will happen in whatever astrological sign you have your natal Saturn, as well as the house placement. And this is where you look at your responsibilities now at this decade in your life. And how are you feeling confident or secure? What needs to change in a practical way? Do you need to save more money? Are you on the right career path? How are things working? Because the square requires a shift, a choice, or a transition. The square can be uncomfortable. So there could be something that comes up here during this square where you have to face a responsibility, face a reality check. Something comes up front and center, and the square is meant to give you an understanding of how to be more responsible or mature, what you need to do in a practical way, what really matters, because Saturn is about our physical life, our physical world. So this happens for all of us in our mid-30s. At the same time, you could be experiencing the Jupiter return. It happens with your natal Jupiter, whatever the sign and placement of your natal Jupiter is. It's a 12-year cycle that brings in developments, ease, flow, good news. Things happen without much effort. This can be a nice supportive energy while undergoing a Saturn square Saturn. The Jupiter return makes something flow for you. It just opens it up where you can experience good luck, if you will. It's fortuitous, and it only happens once every 12 years. So it's a good thing to look at in your chart and to be aware of. Now, in your late 30s, and I call it between 36 and 39, it does depend on your chart and where Pluto is, as well as what transiting Pluto is doing. But transiting Pluto squares your natal Pluto, and this is significant because Pluto is about transformation. It's about something dying or changing permanently. It's a deep letting go. It's a significant change, and it does depend on where your natal Pluto is and where transiting Pluto is in the chart. But the square brings in tension or discomfort. It can feel like a pressure outside of you. A power outside of you is challenging your sense of power. It's a big turning point in life, and it's meant to show you more about what you truly want or who you truly are, where you have untapped power. So it can be quite hard and challenging, but if you understand what's in play in your chart, you can see the themes and see where ultimately something needs to end so that you can claim more of your power. And this can show up through any combination of things. It does depend on your chart, but something changes permanently with the Pluto squaring Pluto. You leave something behind. Your life changes. There could be a death, physical, figurative, literal death, but there's something here where even a part of you dies because you're stepping into a fuller, more true, honest expression of your power and sense of self. Also in your late 30s, you then have transiting Saturn trining your natal Saturn. Now, this can be solid and confidence building because of what happened when Saturn was squaring your Saturn. You had to face something, you had to see it, you had to take responsibility in a new way. There was a choice point with the square. And after you move through that energy, Saturn trining Saturn can feel good. It can feel like, okay, I made the right decision. I'm on the right path. Things are supporting me because the trine is supportive. It solidifies. It brings in resources. It can just bring in confidence or a sense of self that you didn't have before. All of the Saturn transits are maturing about your responsibility and who you are in the world. But this is a good one to be aware of, because you could finally feel like, I know who I am and I know what I'm about. So keep in mind, this could be happening during the square, and this could be an interesting mix of energies where you have to transform, but you understand that it's for the best and that you're willing to do the work. Then in your late 30s, transiting Neptune squares your natal Neptune. This can happen in your late 30s into your early 40s. It does depend on the Neptune transits and what's in your chart. But Neptune squaring Neptune requires you to let go of something. It depends on where Neptune is in your chart, like I said, but it's essentially that energy of release. A square can be a tension or a turning point. It's something that you have to dissolve and surrender. This is a big surrender energy. It can also be good for your spiritual growth, for connecting to other energies, because maybe you've operated a certain way in your life, and Neptune squaring Neptune shows you there's another way to handle it. There's other ways to deal with it. This could be starting meditation, starting a different spiritual practice. Something is challenged with the square. Something is meant to open you up. You're meant to see it differently, but in order for that to happen, you have to let go. So this can be experienced as uncertainty and floating and not knowing what's next. Transiting Neptune moves slowly, so it's a process. It can feel like you're uncertain, you have questions, you don't have answers, you're just floating through life, trusting. This is big soul energy, spiritual energy, so that's where you can go during this square, whenever it shows up for you. Now, in the next video, I'm going to talk about the significant transits in your 40s, and I'll touch on this transit again with Neptune. But you can see how in your 30s, things change powerfully. Powerful shifts that support stepping into who you really are. What isn't you needs to fall away, because at a level that maybe you're becoming aware of, you know it's not you. You're not happy. You want a career change or a life change or a new direction, or you're in a relationship that's not good for you, or there's something more you want in life. Like, there's a lot of significant energies here that are asking you to really look at who you are and what your life is about. And that's part of the gifts of your 30s. And in the next video, I'm going to talk about what shows up in your 40s. So I hope to see you over there very soon.